Hey, you guys, we had to switch over there. We were over in a certain part of the studio and the signal wasn't good, but we came back. Plus, we wanted to make sure we had some numbers coming in. And I'm getting kind of worried because I think they've called Indiana for Trump. And I think that's 3 electoral votes, and that's not much, but he's beating out Kamala. So I want to bring Sharice on so we can get going on here and see what's going on.
Stop your panic.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. Are you in here?
It says you're in the show. Everyone can see and hear you, but I don't see you. Oh, hit the right below you is the little square so that you can be like the two of us, the one of us, the three. There you go. Boom. Thank God I use this program, huh? Right. I want to tell everybody, slow your roll.
Okay.
Don't panic.
Okay.
Here's the thing. If we look at the map, remember I gave you the you need to bring up the
Let me
interactive
bring
map.
that up. Yeah, let me bring that up.
If you bring up the interactive map, half the country is red, okay? It's only like a few states that are blue that makes the difference. Half the country is red. So you cannot panic as you see Indiana, Kentucky, Oklahoma, Tennessee, all you can't panic. Cannot panic. Listen, I'm like John King over here, okay? Let me bring up the map. Hopefully you get this map up here. So if you see, you did three. If you remember earlier, we had 224 to 219. You could literally, if you hit the map, let's make it go to 224, just for fun's sake, right?
How do we do that?
You click on each. Don't click on Pennsylvania, but click on any other thing. Don't click on California. Or you can click on California. You can make California blue. Just click California.
I did.
It should make you. It should be able to let you go make it blue. I know
Woo!
you're zooming in.
Okay. Shit.
Now, see how you just like see how you scrolled over right there. Click that, and it should make it a color.
Nope.
Oh, it should make it a color. Oh, you know what? Let's go back out. See over here on to the right where the colors are, Vermont. See the colors?
Yeah.
Hit those. Make those clue. Those didn't change colors.
No.
Somehow I can't see what you're seeing.
The AP has called this race. How do you call a race with 5% of precincts reporting?
Because there's only so many. I know this used to drive me crazy, but the reason is because they can count the number of prospective voters based on how many people will vote, how many people turned in ballots. Then they'll already know based on that number, you couldn't change the math. That's why. So let me see if I can figure out how to make your interactive map change because I really want to do the map.
This is crazy. This is just crazy. I'm just like, I looked and I said, whoa, what? No, 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 no. No, the election is rigged.
Oh my God, really, you really need to stop panicking. This is, you have to, really, there are 7 states you have to look at. Is Georgia, North Carolina, the Blue Wall, right? Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, New Mexico, excuse me, Nevada, Arizona. You see one of them change, you in trouble.
What? Okay. See, one of them change, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. Wait a minute. You say, what did you say?
If you see one of those colors change red, you're in trouble.
Okay, wait. Shit. Okay, wait. I'm not going to panic. I'm not going to panic.
Oh, okay, here, I'm going to send you another map so you could play with this one. We could play with this one. Put this one up, please. Oh, this is going to be fun. This one we can play with.
Okay. Okay. Oh, God. I don't want to wake up tomorrow and have to go into plantation. I don't want to.
Oh my God.
What's up with slavery? Okay, let me bring that one up. See, look, you said, oh, don't worry
This one's
about
going to
it.
be really good. I'm going to show you how to use this map as soon as you bring it up.
Okay.
Hold on one second.
Okay. You guys, this is exciting and scary, and it's weird because I'm almost feeling like, what if the worst does come to pass? Ugh. Let me tell you, I can't be in the field. I'm gonna just put it out there. I can't be in the field. I'm be in the house. Matt said they tried to get away. Matt said they tried to get away. I heard they was planning a
I am so
revolution.
not going to be on live with you anymore. You so silly. Okay, calm down. Thank you. Calm down, David.
Okay,
Chanel, tell him calm down. Bring up this map. Let me show you how to roll, people.
okay,
Let
all
me show
right.
you how this rolls.
Here we go.
We're about to get into it. Okay, here we go. So, for example, it shows 226. This is what we know to be projected based off of past voting histories, right? California's going to be blue. Here's what you do. Let's say if you take right now you got Minnesota in blue. Click on Minnesota and make it beige. Way at the top. Keep going. You gotta learn your geography to the right. Click it again. Okay, now see how she's 216
Ooh,
to 230? Okay,
yeah.
here's where it counts, right? So let's say if you make Nevada blue, click on Nevada, make it blue. Okay, see she has 232. Now let's say she wins Nevada, let's say she wins Georgia. Right, click on Georgia. And then see she's 238. So they neck and neck. So if she wins Nevada, she wins Georgia. We ain't out the woods yet, people.
She
Okay.
need 270, right?
Yeah, so hit
270.
North Carolina. So then if she wins North Carolina, she needs Georgia, doesn't mean that we're out the woods either, right? Because she still needs one more. She could win Nevada, she can win Georgia, she can win North Carolina. You would still need, where's Pennsylvania? So she would either need, oh, let's hit Minnesota. Let's say she hits, maybe she hits Minnesota, but she don't win the other two. Click on Minnesota, the one that you clicked on the first time. Learn your geography. Ooh, she
Wait,
still
wait.
didn't win. She would need the blue wall. Click the next one. Wisconsin. There you go. So that's one path, right? Which means he could win Pennsylvania and he could win Minnesota, but she'd have to win the rest. Okay, let's unclick them all. Let's start over. No, not California. Not California's blue. Put California back. Okay, now take off. No, that's Illinois. That's staying blue. Take off North Carolina and Georgia. So let's say she wins Pennsylvania and she wins. Oh, so she wins Pennsylvania, North Carolina. Just do Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia. Boom. Oh,
Nope.
she still need more. She'd need Nevada. She'd have to win Nevada. She'd have to win Nevada. She'd have to win
Shit.
Nevada. Hit Nevada. There you go. So
Okay.
do you understand how the path works? So these are your 7 states, right? These are your combinations. Now uncheck them all and let's see what he needs to win because her path is wider than his path. There you go. Okay, so let's say he gets Pennsylvania. Make Pennsylvania red. Oh, take off Minnesota. Make Minnesota beige because that's the blue wall. Okay, so he gets Pennsylvania, he gets North Carolina, and he gets Georgia. See, he won. He only needs, his path is short.
Oh shit.
Go back to take off Georgia. So if he had Georgia, he'd have to have Nevada. So he can only, if he loses Pennsylvania or North Carolina, he has no path. Right? He has no path. His path is a lot shorter, a lot less than her path. She has a lot of options. He has very few paths. No, you can't undo all those red ones because those are red. You can't undo those red ones. Sorry, that's not, the world's not gonna work like that. Sorry, baby. It's not Crayola crayon day. Okay, put them back.
You sure this is red?
Hit the reset map. Just hit reset map. Okay, so this is where we are today. Even though you got Minnesota up here, take the blue off Minnesota. Okay, this is where we really are. Okay, this is the path. He has to do Pennsylvania, North Carolina, or he has to do Pennsylvania, do Pennsylvania red, do Pennsylvania red, and Georgia red.
No.
Yeah, click it. Then he needs Nevada. He can't win without Nevada. Nevada's going blue tonight. So that's going to be the first block. So which means he'd have to hit someplace in the blue wall.
Okay. The problem is here's the problem. Here's the problem. It's like it seems like the whole country is already Donald Trump.
So it isn't.
There's like 7 states that was blue. Okay. Okay, I can count. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wow. 10 states, and it still was only 220 electoral votes. Come on, man.
So the problem is the big states have a lot of electoral votes. California,
What if Texas goes for Kamala?
that probably won't happen. But if we get Ted Cruz out of there, we'll be happy. That probably won't happen. But if you get rid of Ted Cruz,
Alaska, really? For Donald Trump?
well, they typically are Republican. So you have to think about the way the landscape is made up, and really, it isn't so much about red or blue as it is that big cities. So the reason why Michigan, Wisconsin, and Wisconsin are big because you've got Milwaukee. You have big urban cities within those blue states. That's what makes those places blue. But without big urban centers, most states are very rural centered. You really gotta travel more, get out more often. That's why I recommend that people travel the country, see what it's like, look at what they're looking at, see what they see how they see it. They don't want to live in big urban cities. You know why? Because they love like you, David. You got a compound out there. They love living on compounds. They love that stuff. Where
What
some people love condos and townhouses and work live lofts, and it's just the way it is. But what we have to learn is just because the way you live is the way you like it doesn't make the way I live bad.
When we went to vote today, as I think I mentioned before, that I saw a truck, and it was actually some construction over here. So I believe the trucks belong to the construction workers because you can kind of see that's where they parked. And it was a big old truck, and it said had a big old rifle scope on Kamala and like that, and it was like Trump 2024, and I'm just like, so you want her dead? I mean, like you said before, that's still a sitting vice president, and that's a threat. That's a death threat. And I get freedom of speech, I get it, but you know what? That's gone too far.
And
That's
remember, freedom of speech is not absolute. You don't get to yell fire in a crowded theater. You don't get to make death threats against congressmen and city political officials. Freedom of speech is not absolute. You don't get to say everything that you want to say. There are some restrictions to it, right? So we have to be clear that we want to protect our freedoms, but we also have limitations with them too.
okay, Shanda, she's doing pretty well in those swing states. Well,
Yeah.
that's good. That's good. That's good. She
And we
said,
have a long time to go. We have a long time to go. This night is early. I advise y'all sit back, get your popcorn out. Me and David ain't gonna be here all night with you, but it's gonna be a while. It's gonna be a while. It may not even be until Friday that we get the final numbers in.
no,
They'll
no.
start making predictions. They'll start making calls. CNN will probably call really, really early. Hopefully they'll call by tomorrow morning, but it's gonna be a while.
If I wake up and they at the door talk about there's the truck, get back on the, I'll know he won. I'll know he won.
Let's be positive. She did a lot of work. We have to give her campaign credit for the work. She convinced a lot of people to see it her way. She went high when they went low. She put in the grind, and truthfully, it really makes us reevaluate why do we have 3-year long elections. It really makes us reevaluate. We could do this in 3-4 months. Really, you could announce your candidacy, go through the whole campaign thing, go to 57,000 campaign stops, do debates, do TV interviews, and still come to election day in less than 4 months. We don't need a 4 year long election, okay? Because that man's been running for 4 years. We don't need a 4 year long election.
So I just hope we don't have a repeat of this.
Well, the challenge. Do you see that? They see how Minnesota went blue, but Wisconsin and Michigan went red, and there was your problem. And now a piece of that problem is we really need to not worry about the electoral college, as we should focus on people who are on the ballot. If you are not eligible to get on the ballot in all 50 states, you shouldn't be on any ballot, because all you do is become spoilers. The 227 was lost by less than 2 points in Wisconsin and Michigan because of Jill Stein took more than 2% of the vote. Jill Stein is not on 50 ballots. So why is Jill Stein on any ballot? She's not on all 50. She shouldn't be eligible to be on any ballots. There's no reason that you should be able to be on any ballot, because that is where you siphon off votes and can easily tip the election when you had no chance of winning. Jill Stein is an absolute spoiler, and really her whole campaign should be disbanded. It should not be allowed. If you can't get on all ballots, you shouldn't be on anything.
So she's siphoning votes. You said siphoning
Yeah,
votes.
pretty much. And
So
anybody else who's on the ballot, you could take off a 1% or in a race this tight. You could easily take off a 1% or 0.5% and be lost. Like that's what happened last time. It was
why
Bill Stein cost Hillary Clinton the election.
why are we getting this map? You see this map here, and this is real time. Why do we have purple states? What's that? I can see blue. I can see red. I can
Purple
see.
means they're both. They can go either way. They're red and blue, which makes it purple. So if you add red and blue together, they're purple.
Oh, okay. I forget my Crayola numbers.
There you go. Crayola board. Crayola board.
Wow.
Crayola
Okay.
board.
So
Right?
Vermont, which is totally, they're calling Vermont, of course, for Harris, Trump. 7% of precincts supporting, but they're calling it because that's a commanding lead.
Yes.
Indiana, of course.
Kentucky.
Of course, Kentucky. I don't even think. Once again, we talked about voter apathy. We talked about voter apathy and the fact that I think that people in those southern states really just didn't care anymore. They were just like, I'm fed up. I got to give like a blood sample and a letter from a first grade teacher to vote. I'm going to sit this one out. And so the people that weren't really having the problems, they were the ones that were really like, uh-oh. And LaWanda Rivers saying we lost the Senate seat. We cannot lose the House and the Senate.
What Senate did we lose?
Looks like she's saying that Kentucky has already been called.
Yeah. But I don't think Kentucky was a Senate seat that was up for grabs. It's West Virginia. Wow. I think it's West Virginia. And it's another one. It's not Ohio. It's two other Senate seats that are up that will make us tip. I think Kentucky was already in that column. I'd have to go back and look.
I mean, this is going to be tough, and so let's take a look. I know that we were getting, the entire world is watching this election. The entire world, because you've got, of course, allies that are watching with bated breath, going, "What is America going to do?" Because the minute that Trump is like, "Hey, we need to start pulling out of these agreements that we have with, our allies here because they haven't paid or whatever it is," and that I think there's just as much security in it for us as it is for them. So it's like, man, this is crazy. And of course, Fox News there.
I think the important part is, like, somebody just sent me a text that said they, their children voted today for the first time in the election because they were 18. And that is so super cool. I'm so proud of them. And yes, she got teary-eyed. The thought about our ancestors and our struggles that we've experienced just to get the Black vote, and yet still some people discount it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
North Carolina and Georgia too early to call.
Those
They,
are the purples. The purples are what you're watching because they'll tip the scales. You can play with the map if anybody's at home watching and you want to play with this map. You can go and click and see how many different ways and pathways each person has based on which who gets which purple state, because that's what it comes down to. At some point, one person won't have a pathway based on which purple states go for who. That's what it comes down to.
okay. And we have somebody I think that's probably from out of the country. Owning a bar, Trump for president. Okay. Hey, we're gonna show all,
Hey, that's your choice. That's your choice. I don't
yes.
necessarily know that you recognize. I would love to get your opinion on why you would feel as though he would be a better choice for you, because I'm open to hearing to everybody's choices, right? What I want to say is that I think it's more important that we sometimes forget that a presidency can't do everything without the House and the Senate. So sometimes we need to also make sure we know who we're putting in our offices in the House, the United States representatives, and in the Senate, because they make lots of decisions where monies is funneled. Congress is the purse strings of America. They determine bills, amounts that get allocated for funding sources, Social Security, Medicare. Um, they even determine how much the Supreme Court justices make. So we really need to make sure that they represent your interests as much as the presidency.
Yeah. And I think that's something that, a lot of people, I want to say honestly, I've seen a lot of let's just be honest here, a lot of our African brothers and sisters going Trump, Trump, and I'm like, you don't understand. you you don't understand, And it reminds me, it's so funny. Trevor Noah, who's from South Africa, said he had a friend whose name was Hitler, and he said, they didn't know all the stuff that bad stuff Hitler had done, but he said you tend to name your children based upon individuals who you characterize as being strong, and Hitler in a lot of their minds was strong. They didn't know about the Holocaust and all the terrible things he had done. So they went to a party and they were there and they were just yelling. It was a Jewish school and they were DJing, and his friend came and his friend was one of the dancers, and they were all going Hitler, 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 and the Jewish kids like, he said, because we didn't know. So I think when they're looking at it from outside of this country, they're like, wow, Trump seems really strong. He's really gonna be, fighting the Russia. No, no, he's in bed with Putin. And don't get it twisted, but he ain't trying to help give money to African countries. You
Well, I think if you remember correctly, Mr. Trump 2025, he called your country a shithole country. So you might want to rethink who you want to be president, because he's calling your country a shithole country. He ain't trying to give your country nothing. He ain't trying to do no embargoes. He ain't trying to give you no they're lifting embargoes. He's not trying to give you
yeah,
any, leniencies. He's putting tariffs on you. So you might want to rethink about who he calls a shithole country,
yeah.
right?
Luana Bradford said the one thing that sways followers for Trump is he's a recognizable global brand. He has a huge brand influence.
Well, I think that, see, once again, we need to really think about our brands, right? And who we follow and who we believe is a global brand. The man is a convicted felon. He's a convicted, adjudicated rapist, according to the judge. He is failed bankruptcy 6 times after getting $331 million loan from his daddy. Then he stole his brother's money because he lost all his own money, right? So you really think about, is that really a brand? Is he really a brand? Or was he just lucky enough to continue to have money continuously flow to him? Because when he became broke in the presidency, he then started selling sneakers, NFT cards, created his own social platform. So you guys will continue to follow what most people would call a bankrupt brand. But I'm just saying,
That is so true. And it's so funny because once again, just recently, he had to have a rally on the tarmac in Albuquerque, Mexico. We have viewers there that really confirmed this, right? That they wouldn't let him in because they're like, you ain't paid your bill. But people are still saying that um, he's going to be good for the economy. He has a history. Matter of fact, let's go back to Coachella, California, a few weeks back when he had a massive rally and did not pay for the buses to bring them back. He brought them out there and was like, "Good luck on your own 5 miles from where they were parked to where the rally was." So
Well,
people,
why don't we just look at how many people was in his administration and then went to jail? Because MAGA stands for make attorneys get attorneys, right? So you're an attorney, you ended up losing your license or going to jail, right?
he's a very thing business influence. He's a spin. He's a
I don't
spin
think that he's a
master.
spin master. He has a lot of people around him who do a bit of spinning. If you're one of those ones who he pays, you can ask Rudy Giuliani if we disagree. So it really is about how you see things, and if that's not spin to me, you selling sneakers and NFT cards. Who would be buying that? If nobody bought that madness, who's on his social media platform besides those same people funneling him the same money? He is a grifter and he's continued to grift, and it's just like a cult leader. They have that segment of the cult, and that cult will go out and do anything they can to continue to funnel money into that cult, and that's kind of what it is.
Yeah, yeah, and I
And,
mean,
and if anybody thinks that he's so great on the economy, David could just pull up Google right now, and we can see that he put $1 trillion deficit on our economy. You could just Google it. David could Google it right here in real time, and you will see. No, he was not good on the economy. He sent us into the world's worst pandemic. He didn't handle it correctly, and he left us with $1 trillion debt because it was not $1 trillion when Obama handed it to him. Thank you very much. And you could just Google that.
so what do you think? What is it? To be honest, I mean, somebody said, I thought this was very interesting. They said that they said he courts the disenfranchised of the lower socioeconomic white voters, I guess Hispanic voters or Latino, who feel they have not been heard, they haven't been given a voice, and that voice, unfortunately, the voice of hate, now they're being seen. One lady said, "Okay, what was it? Were you not ever seen? Is that why you're gravitating toward this? Because everything is always so angry, you
Well,
know?"
I mean, we have a little bit of too, right? Because we came from being, as our ancestries to this country was enslaved. We were not considered humans. We were not seen. So we kind of resonate with that a little bit too, right? Then you have the little bit of the cult-like media following, right? Listen, he started off with an astronomical amount of money. With that money, you can then buy a brand, build a business, get people to be loyal to you. You can pay people to. His fixer who went to jail, Michael Cohen, the things that he would do to convince people and strong arm them and not pay bills, and he had he had his own mafia people working for him, right? And you can do this and then come out looking good, come out writing books and making yourself look like you're so great, right? So when you have an astronomical amount of money and you ride around on jets and planes, so people are going to believe that you have this wealth that really did not exist. Forbes exposed him years ago. He wasn't worth what he thought what he said he was. So again, it's all about believing to the grift, but we can do that, right? When we had rappers did, gangster rap, people bought into that, yeah, because it's the hustle and the grind, and they don't understand me. We got all of that, right? But it's all a con, and it's all and it can start having some cult-like tendencies. Gangs are cults, right? You start having some cult-like tendencies,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. We didn't expect him to become president, but there are bigger players that played than Trump. The whole thing is, I get that. I definitely get that. But I'm looking at it too, that we know, as I think, Sharice, you actually mentioned yesterday, we know to a certain amount of that the president is a figurehead. There's a system of checks and balances um, in our system. However, the president can order, what is it, up to 100,000 troops into a war zone without congressional approval. So he could get us started in a conflict that spirals. And it's like, okay, now what are we going to do? He could go, and of course, he's fueled by hate. We're up here in a Trump area. As told you earlier, we're
Oh
not
my.
a vote. Yeah, yeah. So I'm just like, one of my relatives is like, "You got a gun?" I'm like, they got all kind of guns up here. What the hell? But I mean, is it going to come down to that where if he loses, you just start hearing shooting and people upset, and I mean, this is crazy. This is crazy.
And I think I'm going to go with Lawana saying that there are always bigger powers at play. You're right. We don't know the end results. We don't know the end game. We don't know the way it's all going to turn out. when we had the Civil War, just because we wanted to be free, we had to have a war in order to be able to do that. We may have to have another one to do the next thing. We don't know how this will all play out. There is always a higher power, and all pieces come together. The thing is that we do have free will, we do have minds, and we're supposed to use those. We're supposed to be intelligent, do the research, do the study, and then use our free will to use our vote to make a voice for what is supposed to be the better of our angels.
And, you know, I just wonder, you know, it takes a while for I think things to sit in, but it's like imagine, when you have these teams that win like the Super Bowl or they win, the Stanley Cup and things like that, and they go crazy and they tear everything up because they're so excited, you know. And I want to hope, I want to say, as you said, that the better angels within our soul will come forward and go, okay, it wasn't what I
At the end
expected.
of the day, we're not different from one another. We live in different places, we eat different things, but we all walk on soil, ground, houses, roofs, cars. We all eat the same animals, chickens, bird, eggs. If you're vegan, plants, potatoes, whatever. We're not different from each other, and we really need to start to recognize that
Yeah,
and appreciate what parts of we are different. We live in different countries, and therefore the landscape looks different, but we need to get back to that decorum and respect and really begin to appreciate the differences around us. We live in big urban we live on the outskirts of big urban cities in California, but we once lived in those urban cities, right? And so our outskirts may look more like Kentucky or Tennessee or Oklahoma or Wisconsin, right? But they may have different accents, they may eat different things. But we still need to get back to recognizing that we're all human, we all walk upright, and we all need to give each other respect and learn to listen to our differences, right? Just because we're not monolithic either. Just because I'm black and you black don't make us the same, right? Just because I'm black and you black don't make us eat the same things. We may have been generations of Africans, but Africans come here and tell you they ain't same as us. So we're all a little bit different. We're not monolithic. Latinos are not monolithic. They can be Cuban, Puerto Rican, and Mexican, and Venezuelan, and Argentina. They're not monolithic. So we need to celebrate our differences because that is what this country was built on.
there we
This
go.
country is built on the multicultural, multifaceted, multidiversal, people is what how we built this place. And that is why it is the greatest place on the planet.
Right, right. And Luana said that he wanted to have tanks rode on Pennsylvania Avenue. And, what makes her nervous is his ready-made vans. If the baton is passed,
See,
you know,
this is the thing too, because if we had been paying attention, he should have never been elected in Ohio. Ohio, they should have came into DNC and whoever else should have came and put that money in Ohio where they needed to, so that the other person would have won, and Vance wouldn't be able to be here today because he wouldn't have had that Senate seat that he's only been up there for 18 months in. This is why I'm saying we need to be making sure that we put the right people in the right place in the Congress, in the Senate, and wouldn't allow these. This was a domino. This was a domino.
Jesus. Let's take a look at this. I got something I want to
Yeah,
show
I
you.
have another watch party to go to. So
A
let's take a look here, and then I'm gonna have to farewell and
watch
bid
party.
everybody adieu.
You got another watch party. What's more important than being on the Onstage
Well,
Plus Television
I'm
Network?
I'm I'm actually kind of organizing it, and it's over here in my new community, and so they're texting me as we speak, like, "Girl, where's you at?" And I'm
Well,
like, "I know I'm
okay.
coming, I'm coming, I'm coming."
Granted, since you did that, yes, you are a organizer. And
Thank you.
okay. Well, I will definitely be keeping in touch with you and having my meltdowns via text. So
Please
thank
do.
you so much for coming on. And yeah, we'll be talking through the night.
Hey, everybody, stay cool, breathe. We got a long way to go. Go to sleep. We might wake up tomorrow still wondering. Be prepared for that and pray your result is the right result.
All right. Thank you, Sharice. All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Oh man. That was crazy. I don't know what to say. I mean, she put it all out there, and she's very well versed in this area. You guys, I know I've maybe been hyperbolic and stuff, but let's just take a look at this and let's see what MSN is saying about this here. Let's see. I thought this was very interesting here.
That Paul Rudd is actually at Lehigh right now, has gone to Lehigh University, where those gigantic lines are.
They've sent him from Temple to Lehigh.
They've sent him from Temple to Lehigh to help persuade people to stay in line.
Not many celebrities go to Bethlehem. I talked to Mark Cuban a few minutes ago. He was FaceTiming with students in line at Chapel Hill, and he said, I thought I was going to need to keep them going, but they're happy. They're waiting. They're getting the job done.
That's what they did in 2008, by the way. The Obama campaign would send celebrities, like different, hip-hop artists, and et cetera, would show up at the polls, and people would, and this is before the time when we really were like texting, but everyone would know that X celebrity is at the poll and people would stay. So that was a tactic, absolutely, during the Obama campaign, and it works.
It is both an inspiration and also enraging to know that there are 5-hour lines to vote in the United States.
Okay, so so they're saying that of course that Virginia flipped. The GOP took Virginia. Harris takes Vermont, which we saw in the seat chart earlier. And the next polls, we have 16 states. The polls are closing in 8 minutes. Polls are closing in 8 minutes. So let's go back here and let's look at the projections. Let's look at the projections here as they come in.
NBC News can project that there is a winner. NBC News projects at poll closing in the state of Florida that Donald Trump has won the state of Florida. In the state of Massachusetts, NBC News projects a winner, projects that Kamala Harris has won the state of Massachusetts. In the state of Tennessee, NBC projects a winner, projecting Donald Trump to be the winner in Tennessee. In Maryland, NBC News projects that there is a winner in the presidential race, and it is Vice President Kamala Harris. In the state of Missouri, NBC projects a winner, Donald Trump, projected to win the presidential race in the state of Missouri. In the state of Alabama, NBC News projects the winner of the presidential race is Donald Trump. In the state of Oklahoma, NBC News projects that the winner of the presidential race is Donald Trump. In the District of Columbia, which for some reason isn't a state, NBC News projects we have a winner. The winner is Vice President Kamala Harris. In the state of Illinois, NBC News projects that it is too early to call. To the Northeast, in the state of New Jersey, it is too early to call in the presidential race. In the state of Connecticut, NBC News projects it is too early to call. In the state of Rhode Island, NBC News projects it is too early to call. Down back to the deep south, in the state of Mississippi, NBC News projects it is too early to call. Back up again to the far northeast, NBC News projects that in the state of Maine, it is too early to call. In the always interesting state of New Hampshire, NBC News projects at this hour it is too early to call. And finally, in the home state of President Joe Biden in Delaware, NBC News projects at this hour it is too early to call. So now we head to the overall national map as these candidates try to beat one another to the all-important threshold of 270 electoral votes. Vice President Kamala Harris, the Democrat, right now at 27 electoral votes, and Donald Trump at 90 electoral votes. Looking back at some of the battleground states where we're watching the vote continue to come in Georgia, we've had polls closed since 7 o'clock with some straggling precincts that have been held open for various reasons. Still too early to call in the state of Georgia with 1/3 of the vote in. Also, North Carolina, another crucial swing state, polls closed there at 7:30 Eastern time. We've only got about 5% of the vote in North Carolina, and NBC News projects that it is too early to call. Looking at a few key Senate races. Pennsylvania Senate race, at this point between incumbent Democrat Bob Casey and Republican challenger Dave McCormick. NBC News projects the Pennsylvania Senate race is too early to call. In Florida, Senate race here, NBC News projects there is a winner. Incumbent Republican Senator Rick Scott projected to have won another term for his Senate seat in Florida. And in Maryland, very interesting Senate race in Maryland. This is an open Senate race in Maryland. Democrat Angela Brooks against Republican former Governor Larry Hogan. Again, this is too early to call. The Senate race in Maryland, too early to call right now as of NBC News' latest projection. The Senate at this hour, Republicans hold 42 seats. There is one flip thus far, and not a surprising flip, but it is a flip in Republicans' favor in the seat that is held in West Virginia, previously held by Joe Manchin, now held by Republican Jim Justice. Democrats hold 31 seats in the Senate at this hour. Steve, I know that we've got in Georgia just over a third of the vote in. What are we seeing?
We're starting to see a bit of a picture maybe emerge. There's a couple layers to this. Again, a third of the vote, and you see Donald Trump up by about 200,000 here. I say there's a few layers. The first I can tell you is this. One thing we were looking for here and are looking for in Georgia, I was describing it earlier, there's just a lot of very small rural counties that are going to be deep, deep red. And one of the questions coming into tonight was, would there be any slippage for Donald Trump in those counties, those core Republican Trump counties? Remember, he's trying to make up a deficit. He lost by about 12,000 votes last time. So we've got about 10 now completed of those rural, heavily Trump counties. We're talking about places where he's going to get 70, 75, 80% of the vote.
Okay. So okay. So they're telling me this was to be expected. You know, a lot of these states, and this is what bothers me: the Georgias, the Kentuckys, the North Carolinas, things like that, which are southern states, where it just seems like almost like even if you get a heavily Democratic outturn, the electoral college, the electors be like, nah, we're gonna go with our guy, you know. And I'm just like, you know, and I know I may seem to be hyperbolic, but you know, last time with I don't think the last 4 years I was really this. I was like, I voted, okay, no big deal. But now it's just something something on the line, people. So I'm going to stick around here because now the polls, of course, are closed back east. It's 8 o'clock, and the results are coming in. I don't know what time. I got to see what time do the polls close in California. Well, California's going to Kamala. We know it's going to California, Kamala. But our votes, you know, why haven't they added our votes to it? Why do they act like, oh, because our polls aren't closed yet? Okay. It's okay, man. It's okay. It's gonna be okay. Yeah. Let's focus on positivity. Let's talk about the good things that are happening, and how we're really gonna stay the course. And I was saying, you know, my ancestors, they definitely knew that one right there is not about that slave life. You know, I remember telling my aunt-in-law, God rest her soul, I was joking with her one year, and I said, I think this is when Trump was initially running, and I said there were some closed down Walmarts, and I said I heard that if he wins, they're going to turn those into detention centers for Black people. And she was like, "Are you serious?" I'm just joking, but doesn't it seem plausible that they would do something, not necessarily for African Americans, but for immigrants or illegals or those that he sees as a threat? Oh, we're just going to temporarily detain them in these areas. You know what I'm saying? It's a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope, you know, and I know the world is watching with bated breath. I remember when Obama was going through the election process, and the first time he won, and he was in a hotel room with his daughters and Michelle and some staffers, and they were watching the TV, and it was really close, and they didn't know. And the Secret Service, they said, actually knew before the news media, and they came in there and they said, Mr. President, and he was like, what? And they were just like, yeah, it's pretty much it's been called. You won before the public knew. So I thought that was really interesting. The fact that he said that in one of his memoirs, that was really interesting that night when it happened, because they didn't even know. They watching the news, but the Secret Service already knew he won. Go get him. So, wow. I don't know what to say, you guys. I'm on pins and needles, and I'm just going to be here for you guys and saying, hey, let's just watch this and let's see what's going on. And I'm going to keep up with checking the different feeds and checking to see how things are going. I kid you not, I got I got a text message from the Democratic Party that says the race is very close in this state. The race is very close in that state. Well, did you vote already? And I'm like, click the link, yes. Did you vote for Kamala? I'm click the link, yes. And then they're like, okay, would you give to the donation and keep America free? And I'm like, I think it's too late. Okay, it's too late. Don't be asking me for no money right now, because my $5 is not going to decide the future of this election tonight. I was like, man, they are really out still trying to get the money. Still trying. Can't knock the hustle though, you know. But I'm just, this really, really, I got 2 daughters. I got 2 sons, and I'm just like, what do we need to do to make sure that their tomorrow is good, you know? Oh my goodness. So, everybody knows what's right and what's wrong. We all know what we should be doing and what we shouldn't be doing, you know. But I'm wondering if we're gonna sit back and go, man, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? And just be apathetic. Are we going to do that? Or are we, I'm not saying to rise up and let's go and let's get their heads, but we got to figure out what's going on. So let's go back and let's take a look and see what they're saying. Let's see.
Of counties. Randolph County, another, about 2/3 and very, very small here. But again, this is what Joe Biden was able to do here in 2020. These are all counties like those small rural Trump ones I was taking you through. These are all counties that add up. So is there a trend? This is only 2, but that's a thing we're going to be looking for as the results come in and as this map fills in. Is there a trend there? So again, 37% of the vote is in right now. That's what it looks like statewide. A big one that's empty here is Gwinnett. This is another huge one that's empty. This is DeKalb County, right outside Atlanta. In fact, some of it's inside the perimeter here. It's about half black. There's a large college-educated white population, very Democratic-friendly. Huge number you can expect for Democrats out of here. We haven't seen anything from that yet. And I also think we've got some numbers here, yes, in Pennsylvania. And I just want to tell you what to expect here in Pennsylvania, because you see a massive Harris lead in more than 300,000 votes. In Pennsylvania, there's really only, we talk about this early in-person voting that, millions of people are doing in other states. They don't really have that in Pennsylvania. It's pretty much just vote by mail or vote same day. And what's happening in most of Pennsylvania tonight is the vote by mail is going to all be reported out first and then the same day. And we expect a pretty clear division, unlike in some other states where the vote by mail we think will be very heavily Democratic and the same day will be more heavily Republican. And so that's what we're seeing. Look, the city of Philadelphia has released, and there's more to come. This is a giant batch, all of vote by mail from Philadelphia here. So that's why this will be, it'll get a little bit better for Trump as more votes come in. But that's what you've got right there. You've got all the vote by mail, perhaps, in Allegheny County, or a very, very good chunk of it. Again, this is where Pittsburgh is. About 1.2 million people. The inner suburbs around Pittsburgh, too, heavily Democratic. So, again, big Democratic number there. And also in Lancaster County, well, only about 700 votes there. So, really, the 2 big cities in the state have come in. We're getting a little bit more now, Butler County and a few others. But, again, you can expect it's the vote by mail first in Pennsylvania. So, you can expect Harris to have a pretty substantial lead in the these early, in the early hour and a half, whatever it is. And the story in Pennsylvania, it's going to be the opposite of the story we followed 4 years ago. 4 years ago, the story was they counted the same day first. Trump had a big lead, and night after night, Biden was chipping away at it with the mail vote. Tonight, we expect just about all of the mail vote to come in, followed by the same day. And the question will be on the same day, can Trump catch Harris? So again,
Steve, can I interrupt you just for one moment? We have a call in a presidential race in the state of South Carolina. NBC News now projects that Donald Trump is the winner of the presidential contest in South Carolina. Back to you, Steve.
Yep. And I was just checking in on a couple others there. But so Pennsylvania again, and I'm just seeing if anything else came in. Michigan, by the way, let's take a look here at Michigan. And we've got, oh, look at this, two biggies. So this is, we set this up earlier. Oakland County, remember, this is gigantic suburbia, high income, high concentration of college degrees right outside Detroit. Now, what you're getting here again in Michigan, they overhauled elections completely this time around. So for the first time in Michigan, they have early in-person voting. A lot of people taking advantage of that. There's also vote by mail. And I think what you're looking at, it's going to vary in Michigan tonight. Unlike some of these other states, there's not a lot of uniform rules here in terms of what sequence the vote's going to be reported out. But in Oakland, I suspect just based on this margin, you're looking at a lot of vote by mail, early vote here. But remember, we said at the start of the night, the test we're going to be applying all night, one of them is to compare Oakland County to its a neighbor to the east, Macomb County. Big blue-collar suburbia in Macomb, white-collar suburbia in Oakland. And the Democrats, what they're aiming for here in Oakland County, again, look how big this is. 750,000 votes were cast here in 2020. Biden won this thing by 14 points. That's what Democrats want to be seeing again. This was a big jump for Biden, over 2016 for Clinton. Clinton had won it by single digits. Biden got it to 14. If Harris is in that ballpark tonight, if she's in that double digit or higher a ballpark in Oakland, she's got to be feeling very good.
Steve, I'm sorry, I have to interrupt you just one more time. Well, presumably the first of many more times. In North Carolina, in the governor's race, NBC News can now project that Josh Stein will be the Democratic governor of North Carolina. He was up against the very controversial Republican candidate, Mark Robinson. Republicans tried to get Mark Robinson off the ballot, thinking that he would not only certainly lose this race, but he might lose it by so much it might even drag down the prospects for Donald Trump and J.D. Vance in North Carolina as well. But NBC News can now project that in this race, the governor's race, Josh Stein will be the winner. Back to you, Steve.
Yeah, just to quickly finish Michigan, and then we're going to check in on North Carolina. In Michigan, again, 8 p.m., almost all the polls closed. The reason they don't officially close, there's a few counties, 4 of them in the far UP that are central time zone. But we're going to be getting this hour most of the rest of the state to some degree. Things quickly, just to keep an eye on as this map fills in. You see, this is very little vote, but you see here Grand Rapids. This area of western Michigan that Grand Rapids is sort of the anchor city of, is a traditionally Republican region that has moved pretty strongly against Trump. This has been a growth area for Democrats. This is an area where Trump has lost a lot of traditional Republican support. So the question in this county, this is Kent County. It's a biggie. Grand Rapids is a city of, about 200,000 people. In 2020, Trump lost it by 6. Democrats would love to get that up to double digits, and they'd love to make further progress in this region. It's a lot of population here. Democrats see a lot of room for growth. Also up here, by the way, you see that's Grand Traverse County, where Traverse City, Michigan is. Both parties sent their candidates to Traverse City a couple times here. This part of Michigan, it's not as big population-wise, but it's very volatile politically. They sort of call this the cherry coast. Cherry farming is big up there. There's wine country. This is Leelanau County. It's one of the wealthiest in the state. Again, these are traditionally Republican.
Okay, so that guy's really into that map there. But I thought it was like, I'm sitting there looking like, did he say we've got some black and then we've got some white college educated people in DeKalb County? First of all, in that area, in Georgia, period, there's a lot of emphasis on education. So for him to be like, oh, you got some black people, then you got some white college educated people. What the F was that about? What was that about? I'm like, this man just say that? And he's so oblivious. Yeah, so we gotta. I want to be like, ooh, get it together. So, can you guys let me know, what are you guys thinking, please? I'm not. This is not a monolith. Please let me know what you guys are thinking in the chat. Who do you want to win? And there is no wrong answer. If you want Trump to win, I respect your right and your vote. And we always want to know why. What is it that about Trump that you like? If you want Kamala to win, why? What is it about her that you like? Me myself, I think I've been very vocal saying I've got two daughters, three sons, and you know, when it comes to women's reproductive rights, I've got nieces and nephew when it comes to LGBTQ rights, and the Republican Party is not taking care of either of those, the LGBTQ community or the African American community. And I need someone who's going to look out for things that affect me and my family. So yes, I'm voting for Kamala. I'm voting Democratic. I voted Democratic down the ticket. Everything. If there was a dog that was running for an office and he was Democrat, I voted for him. I was in the elevator going to vote. We had to go to the second floor. And I thought it was very interesting because when I got into the thing, it was a little old white lady. And she goes, hello. I go, hi. We're waiting for the elevator. We get in. There's this me and her in there. And she goes, please tell me you voted for Kamala. I said, yes. She said, oh, when I found out that they missed that son of a bitch, when they tried to assassinate him, I was like, dang it. She said, and I've just been so vocal with my neighbors. She said, and they know how I feel about him, and I'm like, oh, she said, yeah, oh my God. And it's so funny because she, I guess, assumed because I was a black man that I voted for Kamala. I was like, what if I went, hell no, Trump 2024? Then she probably would have been like, stop this elevator and just start beating the hell out of her, right? But, it's so funny because when we were down waiting for the elevators, people were getting out and everybody was around. She didn't feel comfortable expressing her viewpoints in a public setting, but just the two of us in the elevator, she felt like, oh, here's the way I can. I'm sure you're black. I'm sure you voted for Kamala. And I tend to really look at and vote for the candidate that I feel is going to do best for the nation. I kid you, I've always done that. There was a time I even thought about I wasn't going to vote for Barack Obama because I was like, is this the best candidate? But yeah, he was. But I don't just want to vote for him because he's got as much melanin skin as I do. Roland Martin once said, skin folk ain't kin folk, you know. But looking back, I'm glad I voted the way I did in the past elections. But I think we got to really look at these things. And then, of course, God willing, Kamala wins tonight or wins tomorrow or whatever. I'm not looking when she's sworn in, she takes office, that all of a sudden I'm going to get a check in the mail or my business is going to blow up and I can say, thank you, Kamala, you did this. No, that's not the way it works. But I'm expecting her to keep us out of wars because that affects me, my family. I'm expecting her to do stuff for the economy and the infrastructure. I'm hoping that she'll help with people and those promises that she made about help making home, being to buy a home affordable. My wife and I, bought our home. This is our second home. The first one we bought and lost. We were younger. And I want my daughters to be able to buy a home. And yeah, right now I'm not in a position where I can say, here, baby, here's $50,000 for a down payment. I got you, because I'm rolling like that. Not yet. So they're going to have to get some different loans and things like that. And I want those to be available. And she said she would do that. So I'm hoping she's going to keep her word and she's going to do that. So I'm voting that way because of that. So that's the reason I did what I did. But it's really scary because I'm like, part of me, I just want to like turn it off and just go to bed and just be like, whatever, well, I'll just figure it out in the morning. Just figure it out in the morning. But I know that's not going to be the case. I know that's not the way it works. But we just got to keep the faith. And I want to thank all you guys. I was going to try and be on here. I said, we're going to be here for 3 and 4 hours. Like that is, this is just making me just feeling like I'm just, my stomach is queasy. I haven't felt like this think since ninth grade, when I was first going to high school, stomach was queasy. I was so scared, so scared. I'm feeling really like, what's really going on because I don't know, you know, what the hell. So like, I don't know. I just don't think that this is really something that I should be worried about, but at the same time, you know, I think that we should all come together and it shouldn't be as much hate. There shouldn't be. I'm looking on here and I'm seeing people that are really putting bullseyes on these public figures because they don't like it. What is it you don't like? And can we just be honest? Come here. White men have had all the power for many, many years. And you just don't want some equality for people that have had nothing to the point to where you're like, I'll kill you if you try to get a home, if you try to start a business, if you try for any kind of equality whatsoever, I want you dead. Don't understand that. I don't understand that. And, I don't want that to be something where my grandkids have to worry about. I really don't, because I think that the more we realize we have more in common than we do divided, I think the better we'll be. I really think the better we'll be. So I'm just going to um, pray right now and just pray that everything works out. I want you guys to just hang in there. I may come back on as the night goes on, but I want to thank you guys for just tuning in and just hanging out. I really appreciate it. It is really tough to call in before I go. Let's see if they got any more. Okay, here's 27 electoral votes, Trump 99. My mother always used to say, what a difference 24 hours can make. I remember mentioning that I had some friends that committed suicide in high school. And she said if they just held on 24 hours, and she used to tell me how she would be in situations where she thought there was no way anything could change. And within 24 hours, everything changed. So 24 hours can make a big difference, can make a huge difference. 24 hours can make a huge difference. So, you guys, I will check in with you guys in a little while. I want to thank you guys for tuning in, and let's just, like I say, keep the faith. And let's just take one more look at the map before we go here. Okay, this is Al Jazeera. Looks like Indiana, Kentucky, West Virginia, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, and South Carolina have went to Trump. Connecticut, Maryland, Vermont, went to Kamala. As you can see right now, 35 electoral votes and 95 for Trump. That's where we're at right now. But so funny, even California hasn't checked in. California and Texas, two big electoral states. And would you believe it or not, Hawaii has more electoral votes than Alaska, which is funny. So let's just keep the faith and let's hang in there, you guys. And I will be checking back in with you guys a little later. It is 5:28 p.m. Pacific Standard Time in California. And thank you guys so much. I will be checking back in with you guys probably in about the next 2 hours. And I'll talk to you guys soon. You can cut it.